Have you ever noticed that most times when we are having something that we want to do, and that most people approach their health like a game they didn't design? They're playing by somebody else's rule, dieting harder, fasting longer, exercising more, but the board keeps changing, and no matter how hard they try, they can't seem to win. The truth is, motivation isn't enough. Willpower isn't enough. If your life doesn't have a system, a game board that you design for yourself, you'll always feel like you're starting over. And tonight we're going to change that. This is episode 6 in our Play Your Own Game series. Build your health game board. Sustainable systems and habits that stick. Because here's the reality. Health isn't about playing harder. It's about playing smarter. And when you design the system that fits your real life, not your ideal life, but your real life, your real, everyday, messy, busy life, that's when consistency stops being a fight and starts being automatic. So if you've been stuck on that roller coaster, stuck on that hamster wheel, and trying harder and burning out, tonight is the episode for you. We're going to walk you through how to build the system game board, install habits that actually stick, and track progress in a way that keeps you encouraged instead of discouraged. Hey, if you're new to me, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, go to the next level, create the life you've always wanted. We're living limitless lives, and we're going to the next level. If you're new, go ahead and put new in the comments, because I'd love to welcome you with a hand clap and some music. And let you know that I am so excited that you're here. If you have questions, go ahead and drop those in the comments, because I do want to get to those as we move through our episode this evening. Got some good things that we're going to be looking at. I've got my monitors that we'll look at over here in just a minute. I've got my Dexcom Clarity and my CGM, my continuous monitors. I also have my Contour and my Keto Mojo. And right down below me, that's my Dexcom Clarity. I've got my continuous monitors that we'll look at here in just a minute as we continue going through the evening. I want you to know that you are welcome whatever platform you find yourself in right now, whether that's on LinkedIn or whether not LinkedIn, yes, LinkedIn, Twitch, or of course YouTube, Facebook, and glad that you are here. If you are joining us because you heard our content on another platform, this is at your church or your doctor's office or some other space, we welcome you. A special shout out to our folks from Atlanta Berean and Riverside Chapel in Nashville. Thank you guys for coming through and hanging out with us. And then, of course, wherever you are coming in from, go ahead and drop those in the chat, in the comments, because I want to make sure that we say hello to you as we move through this evening. As you're coming through, as you are arriving, as you are coming to the channel, I wanted to point out a few things that have changed on the channel. And if you've been with us, you have heard me say this over the last several weeks, because we made some very good changes to what we're doing and how things show up on the channel. And let me go ahead and pull that up for you right now. What we've done is we've streamlined what you see when you show up on the channel. We've taken all of the videos, most of the videos, off of the main page, and the only thing that you will see there now, and let me go ahead and pull that up, is you'll see 2 playlists. One is called Start Here, and that's for if you're jumping in, if you want to know how to go about doing the things that we do here on the channel. What are we teaching? What are we all about? What are the pillars? What are the milestones, the markers? What's the pathway that we're on? That's where you would go. Start here. If you're sending someone to the channel, if you're new to the channel, if you're bringing someone to the channel, you tell them when they come to the channel, that's where they start, because that helps to walk them through the path that we are on. There is, if you go into the description, there is a playlist there, or PDF, I should say, a PDF that you could download, a free PDF that helps to walk you through that pathway and helps you to understand what we're doing. It categorizes them, and in the PDF, when you get through the end of the PDF, there is a commitment statement. There's a mantra that you're doing there that says, hey, I've gone through this, and I am making, it's getting a little change here, and I am committing to this. Now, one of the beautiful things about when we commit to something, right? We have a personal internal accountability point. One of the things I do, and let me come back over here. And so over here, let's see, back here. So this thing right here that I'm pointing at, right there, that is a commitment statement that I made probably three and a half, almost 4 years now. I was in a group, and this was actually about what I'm doing right now, and it was a commitment that I made to myself, and I didn't know you at the time, but a commitment I made to you about what this space was going to be like. And every time I walk into the studio, that commitment statement is looking at me. Now, it's not a health commitment statement, but the idea is that you have agreed to the things that are in that statement. I signed it, I dated it, and it's on the wall. So every time I walk into the studio, it reminds me of what I do, why I'm doing what I'm doing. Okay? And so same thing there. When you get to the PDF, you download it, and you will see there's a commitment statement. You go through, you read through it, you acknowledge that you agree to that, you sign it, you date it, you print it out, like I printed mine out, and it's in a frame on the wall, and it is a part of the decoration here. So things are built around it because I want it to be present and I want it to be prominent in my mind. Okay, so when you get to the channel, you'll see that there. You can download that PDF. Now, the next thing that you will see is another playlist, and the playlist says this week's videos. And in this week's videos, this is a list of the videos that we're doing for this week. All right, this week. Now, last week videos won't show up here. So if you're looking for videos from the past, you'll have to go into the channel, and all of the videos that we've done are there. And according to what YouTube is telling me, I've done over 2,200 videos right now that are there. And so as you're going through those playlists, you will run into things that you then want to get further into, and then you can go find those. You can go find those videos and brush up and read up on those things. Of course, at the top here, this is the video this is the episode that you're watching right now, and that will show up in that playlist for this week. After this week, it'll move to somewhere else, and you'll have to go look for it there. But you can always know what we're talking about this week. What are the concepts for this week? What is the topics? What are the shows that we're doing for this week? And you can just jump in and come along with us. Okay. So in addition to the start here, this is the other one that you want to look at. So once again, if you're sending people over here, that's where you want them to go. Tell them when you get to the channel, there is a Start Here playlist, and that's where you want to go. If you go to the Dwain Woode MD, if you go to DwainWoodeMD.com, the same idea is replicated. There is a welcome video from me to the website, and then down here, you click on the button that says start watching videos. That's that playlist I just described. Off to the left, there's a download your free PDF, and that takes you right back to that other, what I was talking about, the PDF that you can download that helps you move through those videos. Awesome. So that is designed with the idea that when you show up, it is a simple process for you to begin moving through the pathway along with us. Okay, so that's why that has been simplified for you. And I'm very excited and very pleased with that, because when people come, they are able to jump in right away and get started. And I've been getting messages from people who are saying, hey, thank you for simplifying the process. And that is what we wanted to do right now in that space. Awesome. All right, well, let's go ahead and let's take a look at some blood sugars, and then we'll get into our discussion for tonight. All right, so let's start with looking at my, this is my Freestyle Libre. Let's go ahead and pull that up. And right now, you'll see right here, it says that my blood sugar is, let's see, where is it? There you go. It says that my blood sugar is 85. And then if you scroll down right about here, that's my graph for the last roughly 12 hours or so. So if I put my finger, you can actually see what my blood sugars have been. So early morning, there's 10 o'clock, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 noon. And right here is where I had lunch. And it went up to, let's see, it started out at, let's see, 86. And then it popped up to 133, right? So 33 plus, let's make it 33 plus 14, right? Is what my blood sugar rose to. And then went down right there, 107. And that was about 3:30. And then right about 3:30, I had some chocolate. And it went up to 123. Isn't that beautiful? Right? Like I can't, so here's an interesting thing, right? Is I can't tell you like prior to all that we're doing, and I'm talking in my history as a diabetic, in my history of blood sugars, I can't tell you ever being able to eat chocolate and my blood sugar only goes up to 123. I mean, that was unheard of for me, right? So I'm talking licking a piece of chocolate, not even eating it, or looking at a piece of chocolate and blood sugar would go up to 300. So that speaks to the power of what we're doing in this space. And you also are finding that. I'm hearing from you that you're having amazing blood sugars that you've not had in years. And some of the things that are happening in your metabolic space. All right, so let's go over and let's look at, this is my Dexcom. And right there you see my blood sugar is 114. And then scrolling down just like we did with the Libre, here is my graph. And this is a 24-hour graph now. So if I put my finger there, you'll see that is in the low 100s most of the day, in the morning there. And then right about lunchtime, according to the Dexcom, I started out at like a 107, 108, and then went up to, let's see, where is that? Yeah, 107, 108, and then went up to 147 was the highest, and then back down, and then right there, there's the chocolate, 163, and then back down, and then of course to where we are right now. Okay. And so now let's go ahead and we're going to hop over and take a look at blood sugars on my monitors. So we've looked at the Dexcom, we've looked at the Libre. Now let's go ahead and let's take a look at what my Contour and my Keto Mojo are saying. Now for this, I'll need to get into my trusty container. And so I need a couple of things. So hold on a minute. So I need to get a glucose strip because I have some ketone strips there, but I don't have a glucose one. So let's get one of these out. All right, so grab one of those. Get this back. And I need a strip for my ketone, or sorry, for the Contour. Get those back over there. And give me just a second because I need to grab something else. Hold on. And so the other thing that I need to grab is these are Lancets, and these are the ones that I've been using. Now there are lots of different ones that you can use, but this is the one I have right now. All right, let's get some of those there. All right, and so here is the strip for my Contour. Go ahead and open these guys up. This is the one for ketone, so I'm going to let that put that off to the side. Open the one for glucose. And get that into our meter. Right. And as you know, I don't use a Lansing device. I just have my Lancet. So I'm going to grab that, open it up. There is my, you can see the needle right there. Grab a finger. And ow, ow, ow. And actually, I stuck myself twice. You guys didn't see that, but I sure enough felt it. So that's one drop there. Another drop there. I can see, so 98 is what the Keto Mojo says. 94 is what the Contour says. Of course, right there is what the Dexcom is saying. And let's go over and let's take a look. And this is what the Freestyle is saying. Now let's go ahead and get the strip out of the Keto Mojo. Get the one in for the ketones, and let's make sure we have a drop of blood. Now that one was a big drop of blood, so we'll see how that goes. Sometimes if you don't have enough, it doesn't work quite well. If you have too much, it clogs it as well. So let's see. So low, right? So ketones. Let's talk a little bit about ketones. So ketones that are less than 0.5 considered normal, right? Low, for example. Ketones that are 0.5 to 1.5 considered nutritional ketosis, and then above 1.5 considered therapeutic ketosis. So when we're talking about ketogenic diets, when we're talking about ketone or fasting mimicking diets, or we're talking about when we're fasting, we want ketones 0.5 or higher, and that allows us to know that we are in the space that we need to be in. Awesome. All right, let's go ahead now and let's take a look at my monitors. So let's hop over here. And so here is my 14-day average, 114. Usually I tell people I want their average blood sugar to be between 100 and 120. So that's in keeping with that. My time in range is 98%. And the range is right now is 70 to 180. And my glucose management indicator is 6.0. So you guys saw the show last week when we went through our labs from my visit with my doctor. And so my A1C at that time, if you've not seen that, go back and watch that. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Go back and watch that episode so you can see what that is. And you'll see how that correlated both with the Dexcom and with the Libre, because you've been watching what the GMI has been according to the Dexcom and according to Libre as well. And then you can see what that A1C turned out to be. If I look at my 90-day average, all right, so 90 days, and so my average blood sugar there is 116. So 116 in target 97% of the time, target be between 70 and 180, and then GMI 6.1. Okay, so once again, the GMI is a surrogate for the A1C. We can't call it an A1C because it's a calculated number, but when you get blood work, it actually tells you what it is, but it should approximate what the GMI is. And so now go ahead and let's take a look at what's been going on with my blood sugars over the last several days. So I'm going to go way back, and I'm going to start with when we ended our fast. So we ended our fast right in here about, right there. Actually, we started the show here and we ended the fast right about here, so 98. And so we ate, and you guys saw what I ate. And so we got up to about 170, 180, right? And then came back down to 130s. This is midnight. That was Friday. And so now Saturday, up to 180, 190, 180, 190. And then for the rest of Saturday into the 120s, 130s. This is lunch right in here. So we had a function at our church, and so we went out with them and we had lunch. And so we started out low one teens, and then spiked up to about 140, 145, and then the rest of the evening up to about 150, 160, into midnight, coming into the next day. Now we're on Sunday. 120s, 130s, 140s. Here's the 1-teens. Low 100s. Right. And so this is all Sunday. See, all Sunday we've been in the 120s, 130s. And then, of course, where we are today, 100s, 110s. There we are. Okay. And so this is what we just described in terms of what happened at lunch today. And then up to where we are right now, according to the Dexcom. And then, of course, here's what my Libre is saying that I am right now. And you know, the Dexcom tends to be about, usually for me, 20 to 30 points higher on a regular basis compared to the Libre. And when I'm ill, it just goes, it has interesting numbers. All right, now let's go ahead and we're going to say hello to some of our community members. See you guys out there. So let's get over there. And I see Teresa. And so Teresa saying, hello, doctor and everyone. Hey, Teresa, thank you for coming through. We've got Bowie says, hi, Teresa. Jennifer, howdy all. Kenty, hey, what's up, Kenty? And then Bowie says, hi, Jennifer, Kenty. And hello, Bowie, from Kenty. Now, an interesting thing, and you know, was it last week? Or week before, one of these weeks, I came in and I was so excited about starting the show that I started the show an hour early. So today, when I was scheduling the show, I scheduled it for so we normally do a 9 o'clock, and I scheduled it for 9, and so you may have gotten a notice about 9 o'clock, but it actually is a 7 o'clock. So we're here in this space as we move through that. Now let's go ahead and let's talk about get into our discussion for this evening, because it is a very important and interesting one as we continue talking about where we are in our series, Play Your Own Game. So let's go ahead and we're going to do that right now. So let me ask you a question. How many times have you started something, a new diet, a fasting schedule, exercise plan, and in the first week, you were fired up? You thought, man, this is it. I'm going all the way. We hear that and we say that all the time, man. For instance, when we talk about fasting, we talk about walking, we talk about all the stuff that we do here, people will say to me, man, I can eat like this forever. This is no problem. This is not a big deal. But then week 2 comes. Life gets busy, the excitement fades, and suddenly that plan that you had, it was gone. Why does that happen? And it's not because you're weak. It's not because you have lack of discipline. It's because you were relying on willpower. And willpower is a terrible long-term strategy. Willpower is that white knuckling. I'm going to do it. I'm strong enough to do it. Willpower is like a match. It sparks quickly. It burns hot. But it burns out fast. What you need is a system, something that doesn't depend on how motivated you are that day. Yeah? It doesn't depend on what's going on that day. It depends on something completely different. It depends on the the things that you have put in place that says, okay, this is how I'm going to roll. This is how we're going to ride. This is what I'm doing for my health. Systems. Systems work. Willpower is strong for now. It is great for now. It is the thing that, yeah, let's do it, let's do it, let's do it. But it doesn't last, because it doesn't have the power to overcome what's going on with you in the moment. That's the problem when we talk about willpower. So why systems? Why are systems better? Well, there's science behind it. You want to hear it? Here's the science. Habits free up our mental energy. When something is automated, the brain no longer spends effort deciding, because it's rote. It is going to happen. It's like being at the top of a roller coaster. It doesn't matter what you decide up on top of the roller coaster. You're coming back down, because it is designed for that. It doesn't matter if you yell or scream. You're coming down. It's the same thing when we talk about our heat model, habits, emotions, access, and taste, those things that push us. When we talk about emotions, often people will allow the emotions to build. They'll get frustrated. They'll get angry. They'll get bored. They'll get tired. And those emotions continue growing and growing and growing. And so it's like taking a trip up that roller coaster. And then they get to the top of the roller coaster with all those emotions built up inside of them. And then they decide at the top of the roller coaster that they don't want to go down the other side. That doesn't happen, because it's automatic. So just like that happens in that space, it also happens in this space. Because we're using that idea for the good. We set ourselves up so that when we're there, we're coming down. So automated. So habits free up our mental energy. Number two, it lowers our decision fatigue. And decision fatigue is one of the biggest reasons people quit. It is my brain does not want to make another decision. I tell this story. If you've decided that you're not going to eat, let's pick something, chocolate covered raisins. I don't know why I picked that, but there it is. Chocolate covered raisins. And you love chocolate covered raisins. But you've decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to be good. I'm not going to eat those because it's good for my health. It's right now I'm avoiding whatever you're avoiding. You've made a decision, a mental decision. And you have the power. You were motivated last night. And I'm standing outside your door or outside your garage as you're driving away. I can have as many chocolate covered raisins as I want. You are not going to eat it because you've made a decision. You're strong now. You woke up. You're fresh. You got a lot of energy and you've gone on your way. Okay. So I'm standing there at the door, at the garage. Well, on the way to work, there's an accident and you're delayed. And you get to work and your boss chews you out. And you walk in and your team comes running at you with all the problems that are happening this morning since you weren't there. And somebody comes to you and says, hey, you know that thing that was due on Friday? Well, today is Monday and it's actually due this afternoon. And somebody from the family calls, your husband, your wife, your son, your daughter, your mom, your cousin, your auntie and them. Somebody calls to tell you something that's going on in the family and you're on the phone with them in the middle of trying to do all the stuff you're doing. Now, when you come home and you're driving back through the garage door, if I'm standing right there with those chocolate covered raisins, guess what? You're going to get some. It's going to be hard to avoid getting some. Why? Because your brain all day has been making decisions. And when you're coming back home, the brain says, I don't want to have to make any more decisions. And it will take the simplest way out. And the simplest way out is to go ahead and eat the thing. Because after all, it's going to bring me comfort anyway. And it's the easiest thing for me to do. I don't have to fight anymore. And then number 3, every time you repeat a habit, your dopamine pathway reinforces the loop. It's kind of like training an animal. Yes, it is. So you want them to sit up. And every time they sit up, you give them a treat. They don't sit up, you don't get a treat. You sit up, you get a treat. You don't sit up, you don't get a treat. You sit up, you get a treat. After a while, that animal says, hey, if I want a treat, I'm going to sit up. And so they've gotten into the habit of doing that. So your brain does the same thing. Every time you have a habit that you are working on, and every time you repeat it, you get a dopamine burst. And that reinforces that loop, making it easier the next time. And so the first time, no, it was hard. And the next time it's a little easier. Next time it's a little easier. Next time is, and after a while, it becomes a rote pattern that makes it simpler for you to do what you want to do. So you don't rise to the level of your motivation. You fall to the level of your systems. That's why systems beat willpower. So if your systems are shaky, the results that you get will be shaky too. But if your systems are strong, even a bad day won't knock you off course. Oh, wait. Did you hear what I said? So systems don't prevent bad days from happening. Let me be clear. You're still going to have a bad day. But when systems are in place, systems allow you the best possibility of not getting off track. We're going to make a point about that getting off track here in just a little while, because it's a very important point that we want to make, right? So that's why systems beat willpower. Well, let's talk a little bit about the health game board concept. The health game board concept, because we've been talking about playing your own game, right? So what does that look like? Let me give you a picture. Imagine your health kind of like a game board, whether Monopoly or Trouble or whatever game board you're doing. And every square on the board represents a system. Something you can repeat daily or weekly that keeps you moving forward. Recently we were in, where did we go recently? Oh, Orlando. Yeah, last week. We were in Orlando. And so the kids wanted to do something which we couldn't do at the time. And so we went into the where they had the booths and vendors and so forth. And we walked in there and there was a game. And it looked like a silly game, but 5 of us sat down and we started playing. And after a while, we got so involved in the game. And all it was, you're throwing the dice and you're moving these little pieces along the game board based on the cards that you get, right? Amazing. So think of your life like that. Something that's repeatable. You throw the dice and you get a card and you move according to the card. It keeps you moving forward. If you want to win, you can't just move randomly across the board. You have to move according to the design. And that's what the Limitless Living Health Action Plan is. Your core board. And it has 7 squares that are non-negotiable. They're fundamentals. These are the pillars that we've talked about. The walking. And pause. Walking is simple. It's free. All it takes is what? A time commitment. Balance bites. And now we're going through the 7 pillars. Balance bites. Fueling your body so that you are putting in the best fuel. Strength training. Resistance that builds muscles and improves your metabolism. Fasting. The reset that goes on. Remember we talked about the fact that every time you're fasting, you're resetting your body, the hormones, the regulation in the body. You're causing your body to be more insulin sensitive. You're burning fat. All of those things that are going, autophagy, right? You're cleaning the system up. Fasting, metabolic reset. rest and recovery, deep sleep, renewal, taking time to woosah, getting those emotions in check, mental mastery, the thought patterns, because the way, the lenses through which you view life shape your response to the things that happen. Remember, until you give meaning to something that happens, that thing does not have the power that you think it does. Now, I'm not going to say that it doesn't affect you, because that doesn't, it affects us, but it doesn't have the power that we think it has until we give meaning to it. When we give meaning to it, now it causes us to have a feeling about it. The feeling brings an emotion. The emotion drives our behavior. Behavior drives our actions. Actions gives us a result. So the way that we see the world affects what we do. And then structure and planning, the framework that holds it all together. Often we have ideas, we have vision, we have goals, we have all of those things, but there is not a plan, there's not a structure for it. One of the things that you hear me beginning to talk about is this idea of what we do in the different quarters of our lives. One of the things I love to talk about is, when you look at companies and organizations, we often think that we start our plan January 1 of a year. Okay, come January, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to decide what I'm doing for the year. Well, when you sit down to decide in January 1, right, the first quarter, you're already behind the 8 ball. So the decision, what we're going to do in the first quarter, has to have happened the last quarter, maybe the fourth quarter of the last year. So that has to be the idea of structure and plan. Like I do and this idea, we'll talk more about this, but when I begin thinking about my new year planning, like actually boots on the ground, starts the beginning of September. So all year I'm get my thoughts together. I'm brainstorming. I've got notes and all this stuff that's there. I've got my notion where I go in and I organize things, but for my health as well. But in the last quarter, the beginning of September, I'm planning for January 1. Because sometimes it takes me a while for me to get things together, get the plan, get the resources, whatever I need. So if we're going to, and I'm spending some time on this structure and planning because it's very important, the framework that we're putting together can't begin the time we are planning to do the thing. One of my favorite things to talk about is when I discuss success with my friends and the people I meet that are in the military or law enforcement and security. One of the questions I ask them all the time is, how do you get a person whose natural tendency is to run from danger to all of a sudden go towards danger? Because that's what they've got to do. When everybody else is hiding and cowering, well, I shouldn't say cowering, everybody's hiding and getting protection, these men and women are going towards danger. How do you get them to do that? And they tell me two things. Number one, practice, and two, community. So practice, they go through it over and over and over. That's why people who are in tactical scenarios, they train over and over and over. They're going through the same thing over and over and over and over, because the way you train is what you do when time comes. So number one, they go over and over until they are proficient. And number two, community. I said, well, tell me about community. They said, well, if I have someone who is by themselves and there's a lot of danger out there, the likelihood that that person, even with training, is going to do that is low. Now, their training helps them moving in that direction. But if they know that they have somebody who's got their back, and there's a unit that's got their back, and there's a squad that's got their back. Now the training takes over, and they have the support of everybody else. So the fundamentals that we go through, the fundamentals that we talk about, that's the health game board concept. That's what we've been walking through, the health action plan. Walking, balance bites, strength training, fasting, rest and recovery, mental mastery, structure and planning. Now here's the beauty. The fundamentals are the same for everybody. But the expression is flexible. Play your own game. So walking, maybe it's a 30-minute walk after dinner for you. Maybe it's a hike for me. Maybe it's a treadmill at lunch for somebody else. Balance bites. Maybe your plate is Caribbean style, Jamaican, Trinidadian, Guyanese, which is actually on the continent, but it's still considered Caribbean. Maybe it's Mediterranean. Maybe it's Italian, maybe it's French, maybe, and you can go around the world and begin talking about all the different types of things. One of the funniest things that's happened to me as a physician was putting together a meal plan and using my physician knowledge to put it together. And when I finished putting the plan together, I was doing it for myself, by the way. And looking at it finally and saying, you know what? This is great according to the theory that I was taught, but it has nothing on this plate that I eat. And so I had to go back and say, okay, now let me take this and let me use those same concepts, right? Not the same specifics. Let me use the same concepts and now design a plate that mirrors the food that I eat. And so playing your own game when it comes to balanced bites doesn't mean that you eat the same thing that I eat. It means that you are using the concepts, whole foods, no added sugar, minimized processing, lean protein, healthy fats, starchy, non-starchy vegetable, flavorful, right? All those, you're using the same concepts to now input the foods that you eat in that space. I'm not a food police. When people come to the office, I don't tell them what to eat. Sometimes I'm going at the grocery store and I'll see someone coming down the aisle, a patient of ours, and they'll almost like they're ducking to the other side, or they'll come and they'll look at me and then they'll look down at their cart. I'm not paying attention to your cart. I don't care what's in your cart. And I don't care what's on your plate. What I care about is, have you looked at it in light of balanced bites? And if you have, nobody can say anything. Oh, let me make this point. When you go to the grocery store and you're buying whatever it is you're buying, right? So you paper towel, you got some soap, you've got some laundry detergent, you've got, some cleaning, you've got, your grapes and your salad stuff and whatever you're buying, and you put it in your cart and you're going up to the cash register. The people in the store don't care what you just purchased. They don't care what's in your cart. All they care about is, did they get their money? So if you gave them money for whatever you bought, they don't care. And here's the beauty. If you're getting the benefit of the metabolic regulation, then how you get it doesn't really matter if you're doing it safely. Once you get that concept. So your game does not have to look like my game. Now the rules of the game are the same. And you got to play within the rules. You can't all of a sudden decide, well, you know what? My A1C is a 9 A1C is good for me. No, it doesn't work like that. Within the game rules, you can play the game however you want. Like one of the games I love to play is Monopoly. Monopoly. And so I've got two cousins who are like, we spent, how long did we spent about 3 months together, the three of us, with a couple of other friends. And they were fiends. And everybody plays Monopoly differently. Like when I play Monopoly, I like to get all of the most expensive properties in one of the colors. So when I get my money, right, I land on something, I'm buying. And I try to get the most expensive property in all of the colors. Like I don't need all the colors. I don't need all the properties in a color. That's not what I want. I want the most expensive one in each of the colors. My cousin, one of them, he wants to get all the properties on one side of the board. So anytime you go along that side of the board, you're landing on his stuff. Another one likes to get properties on opposite sides of the board. Because you know when you roll, right, if you're over there, you probably don't land much on the one right next to it, right? You're gonna land over here. So different strategies. But guess what? We're all playing the same game. Now I have to say that I'm a pretty good Monopoly player, so if you guys are out there, my cousins, sorry. Rest. Maybe you need 9 hours. We recommend at least 7. That's not a negotiable. But everybody needs some rest. Everybody needs to be able to rest and recover. Because if we don't take the time to do that, then we're setting ourselves for lots of hardship. Fundamentals are non-negotiable, but how you live them out, that's where you get to play your own game. So you're designing your own game board. So here's my question to you. If you had to put 3 squares on your game board right now, the ones that would give you the biggest return, what would they be? And are you playing your own game? And then how do we install habits that stick? How do we do that? So let's talk about how you actually install these habits. So one of the fundamental things that I want to talk about here before we get into this section, because we're going to do more discussion, but one of the fundamental ideas is that we often say, or we use the phrase, life happens. Like I was going along, I was doing great, and then life happens, or happened. And the implication when we say that is that that thing that happened, life, is not part of life. Like life is an abnormality that interrupts our fantasy or interrupts our dream. Now, I'm gonna be careful. I'll say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. That thing that happened is life. I'm gonna pause. Life involves that thing that happened. So when you wake up in the morning and everything goes great, and it's like your day from nirvana, that's life. And the day you woke up and the car broke down and the air conditioner went out, like ours went out several months ago, and everything seems to not be going, quote unquote, your way, that day is also life. So life didn't happen. Life is happening all the time. When I first got married, there's this guy here that we follow, financial guy. I should say we. My wife used to follow him before I got on board, and I resented the fact that he was in my house, in my finances, because I used to hear about him, right? But one of the concepts that he talks about is this one. You know that the car is going to need an oil change. And the car should get an oil change. And the oil change is going to cost, and I'm going to just pick some random number, is going to cost $39.95. So when it's time to get an oil change and it costs $39.95, if that is an emergency, right, all of a sudden it's an emergency, then there was not a plan for getting the oil changed. I want you to follow me. It's going to happen. You know, every year Christmas comes on the 25th of December. If you're deciding what your meal plan is going to be on the 24th of December, there is not a plan. Your birthday comes around the same time every single year. Your anniversary, your mama's birthday, your daddy's birthday, your kid's birthday comes around the same time every year. And every year you guys have chocolate cake and whatever else you have. If there is not a plan for how you handle that, then you have not planned. It's not an emergency. So when things are happening, it is life happening. That's number one. Number two, if we are going to use the phrase life happens, which we shouldn't, then we have to anticipate that it's going to take us off of our normal schedule. It's like, hey, you know, I was eating great and I was doing great and I was having, you know, I was doing balanced bites, and then life happens and now I'm not on that anymore. And my question usually is, well, what was the plan that you had when something like that happened? Because it will happen. And if we expect it to happen, what is our plan for when it does happen? Did we have a plan? And if we had a plan, then we never got off of our plan. Right? Because our plan involved whatever that is. And the third idea is this. Often it is not the fact that people, quote unquote, got off of their plan that's the issue. So I'll talk to people and they'll say to me, and I should say even talk to people, myself. It'll be 2-3 weeks down the road and I'm like, well, what happened? Well, quote unquote, I got off plan 2-3 weeks ago. Well, why am I still off plan? Because I never had a plan to get back on. So this is the beauty of structure and planning. Right? Remember those non-negotiables? It is, you know, people will walk, they'll fast, they'll eat balanced bites, they'll strength train, but they won't do structure and planning. Oh, I'll do it when it comes. Well, it's kind of like saying, you know what? I'm going to wait until I get into an accident to put my seatbelt on. At that point, it's too late. So what is the plan that we have? Okay, so those three concepts I want you to get. I want you to hold on to those right now. And let's go ahead and let's talk about this. So how do we install habits that stick? Installing habits that stick. Well, number one, we want to cue it. We want to, right? So these are three anchors that I want you to remember. So cue it. Cue it, stack it, shield it. Cue it, stack it, shield it. Number one, cue it. Every habit starts with a trigger. Every habit starts with a trigger. If you want to make a walking habit default, pick a time or a signal that already reminds you and that will always remind you. For example, as soon as I finish lunch, I walk for 10 minutes. The cue makes it automatic. Lunch is done, here I go walking. As soon as I get home, I drop my stuff in the garage and I go walking. I get home, that's the cue, and I go walking. But if the idea is, well, I'm going to walk this evening, at some time, there's no cue. It's not automatic. What is the cue that says, boom? One of the things that I talk about when I do our strength, strategy, and mindset, at the end, we do a grounding exercise. And the grounding exercise is designed to help us as we go through the COPE model. Remember the COPE model, COPE, clarify, observe, pause, and execute? It is what is going on in my body right now. Why am I having this experience? I know it's not hunger. I know it's not this. I know it's not that, right? So it's not. So what is causing it? Where do I feel it in my body? Am I feeling upset stomach? Am I feeling butterflies? Am I feeling, heat coming out of my head, so I'm mad? Am I closed, which means I'm sad, right? Am I clenched up? What's going on in my body? Clarify, observe, pause. Remember, the pause allows our prefrontal cortex to take over from our amygdala, which is the basal fight or flight safety part of the brain. The prefrontal cortex gets to say, wait a minute, no. It's kind of like you see a tiger and you start to run. But then the brain says, hey, wait a minute, the tiger's in the zoo. Same tiger, but the prefrontal cortex gets to modulate that. And then we execute. What is the thing that we're going to do other than eat? Clarify, observe, pause, and execute. And so one of the things that the grounding exercise does is the grounding exercise allows us to create a cue. So you get anxious and you just tap your feet, understanding that the ground below you is firm, it's solid, it's not shifting, it's not uneven. It sends a cue to the brain that says, I'm okay. And if I'm okay, I have the ability now to interpret what's going on around me and to make a decision. I don't have to react. I could respond to it, to cue it. What is the thing that's going to say to you, okay, this is the behavior I'm doing because there's the cue, right? If this happens, then that happens. So that's the cue it. Number 2, stack it. Pair a new habit with one you're already doing. That's called habit stacking. For example, while you're making your tea, maybe you're making coffee in the morning, you stretch for 2 minutes. Or while I'm brushing my teeth, you do some arm raises, you do some squats. It takes the decision making out of your process. I don't have to decide to do it anymore. It is an automatic thing. People do that. I tell people to do that with their medications. Right? Put the medication, it's usually the thyroid medication, put it right by your bedside. You get up in the morning, there's a glass of water, you get up, drink water, take a pill, you're done. So the act of waking up triggers that. Right? So we're stacking it, we're putting it together. So putting those things together, something that's already going on. And then number 3, shield it. Protect your habit from sabotage. If you're trying to sleep better, put the phone in another room. If you're trying to cut sugar, don't keep cookies in the pantry. Several weeks ago, we were getting ready for this trip that I was just talking about. And so I went to the grocery store and picking up stuff, getting ready for the trip. And I looked at my cart and they had a container of peanuts. I had a couple of bags of chips. I had some Cadbury chocolate. What was I preparing to do? I was preparing to snack. And so I stopped myself and said, wait a minute, what are you doing? You are deliberately creating a problem. Because the stuff that's in the house for snacking, I bought them. I brought them into the house. So don't count on your willpower. Say, oh, I'll bring it and I'll leave it in the pantry. I'm just going to have 1 or 2. No, you're not. Willpower is not going to bail you out. So you want to design your environment so success is easier than failure. Because failure is already set up. And when I say failure, I'm talking about in terms of what you eat. So if you decided that I'm not going to eat chocolate, you're already designed to eat chocolate because all the cues are there. You've not learned yet. You've not processed yet. And if you have chocolate in the house, the likelihood that you eat the chocolate is high. So this is exactly how I have been going through building the habits that I'm using. Now notice, and I want to say this to you. And you heard me say a little while ago about one of the spikes on my thing was chocolate, right? So I decided how I was going to do that. What was I going to do so I could eat the chocolate? Because it's not usually that we ate the chocolate that causes the problem, is that we don't do anything about it. We just say, okay, this is just it's gonna be what it is. So just like that, what is the process that you're putting in place to shield yourself and protect the habit? So we cue it, right? Number one, right? So we start with a trigger. We stack it. We find something that's already going on and we put it with it. And then we shield it and we protect that habit from sabotage, which usually comes from who? From us. We don't want to wait for motivation. I'm going to tell you, how to say this. So, motivation is not bad. Motivation is that fire that gets things started. It's the striking of the match. If you didn't have the strike of the match, things wouldn't get going. But when you strike that match, guess what? It's fast, it burns brightly, it burns hot, and then it's gone. That's motivation. And we cannot rely on motivation to take us where we need to go. So we cue it, we stack it, and we protect it. That's what we got to do. That's how we install it. We shield it. All right. So what is the scoreboard scoring system? What's the scoreboard for systems? So let's go through this. How do you know that your game board is working? I ask people, how do you know that walking is working for blood sugar? Well, if walking is working for blood sugar, my blood sugars are good after I walk. How do I know that that exercising is, strength training is good for my blood sugar? Well, if I strength train, I exercise, my blood sugar improves, guess what? Boom, there it is. So the scoreboard is not just what the weight or the A1C or cholesterol is. Those matter, yes, but they're not the whole story. Your scoreboard includes a lot more. How many walks did you complete for the week? Now, here's the thing. Let's walk through this process. So let's pick walking. So I'm going from, well, I'll just use this one. So you're going from not walking to walking, right? So you don't normally walk. Now we're going to walk. If I walk twice a week, I'm better in my scoreboard than if I'm walking 0 times a week, correct? And if I'm walking 3 times a week, I'm better than if I was walking 2 times a week. So when you're evaluating, right, how are you doing with walking? It is a progression. How many walks did I do this week? And my goal is X. But how many did I do? And am I progressing over time? How many nights did I sleep for the minimum 7 hours or more? Am I progressing? How many times did I pause, Cope model, instead of stress eating? How many days did I feel aligned with my purpose compared to the others? That's progress. And you've heard me say over and over and over, we're not building something that you do today and then tomorrow is gone. We're not building something for 90 days or 30 days or a 45-day challenge. What are you going to do the long haul? Our goal is not just to get your A1C good for your doctor's visit next week. It is how do we keep you alive as long as possible and keep you as healthy as possible. That's progress. That's sustainability. Motivation asks, do I feel like it? Systems ask, did I do it? And when you track your system, you can celebrate progress even when the scale hasn't budged. Because your life is still moving forward. Life is still happening. When we traveled several weeks ago, we were in St. Louis, we were in Orlando, right? You saw some of the videos that I did on our, you saw some videos that we did at the hotel for Strength, Strategy, and Mindset. We've asked people to create a 5-minute workout. So we normally work out for about 35 to 45 minutes on the show. But find a 5-minute workout that you can do any 5 minutes. And then wherever you are, if things aren't going the way you thought it was going to go, do the 5 minutes. So when we build our game board, we're building it based on our lives. The reason that we don't succeed is because we're building and we're playing on somebody else's game board. The Limitless Living Health Action Plan is the functional health arm of Limitless Living. Those are the pillars. Those are the 7 pillars. That's the blueprint. That's the checklist. That is the set of guardrails. Those are that's the pathway that we're going down. And if you are following the pathway, it doesn't have to look like mine. It will look like yours look based on your life, not on somebody else's. And we install that into our body. We cue it, we stack it, we shield it. Because health isn't about doing more. It's about building the right system so success becomes automatic. Motivation may spark the fire, but systems keep it burning. We'll continue talking. We'll continue working. We'll continue pushing, playing our own game, and being limitless. Keep watching. All right, LLG. That's our concept. That's it. That is a huge one that is fundamental to what we do. Now we are, we're about to enter the 4th quarter of the year. And this is apropos, right? So talking about playing your own game. The 4th quarter. We've played quarter 1, we played quarter 2, we played quarter 3. It's the 4th quarter. And many people have started the game and they've gotten tired. Somewhere in the middle, quote unquote, life happened. And they're off their game. Some people said they were going to do it, but they never started. Some people started and they've been running. They've been going at it. And now they're getting a little fatigued. The 4th quarter is where you can now say, okay, the first 3 quarters, man, didn't go the way I thought it was going to go. The first 3 quarters, man, I didn't get my stuff together. the first three quarters, right? Well, my scoreboard is not looking like I want it to look. But here we are, fourth quarter. There is still time to play your own game. There's still time that this year, the things that you said you were going to do for your health, the decisions you said you were going to make, we're still in the fourth quarter. We're about to enter the fourth quarter. And you hear me talking more and more about that concept because it's very important. People will say at this time, oh, you know what? This game is already done. I'll wait till the new year. No, 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 no. Do you know the benefits that you can get in the next 4 months? 3 months? 4 months. Do you know what those are? They're huge. So we don't have to wait till the new year to get that. You can start that right now. You can start walking today. You can start walking tonight. As a matter of fact, I used to walk around my house, inside the house, not even outside. In your bedroom. You don't have some things, some weights like we do on our in our workout area? That's okay. Use your body. Do some squats. Do some arm twirls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do some forward reaches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm right here. I'm sitting in the studio. Do some cross-body leg swings. It can start right here, right now. Remember, here's what I want you to know. You don't have to do it perfectly. You just have to be consistent. Consistency does not mean sameness. It just means that you're showing up. You're showing up in the space and you're doing it as perfectly as you're capable of doing it. That's why when I talk about the limitless living, when we talk about limitless living, you hear me say I showed up with my best self, my best health, and my best plan. You know why I said that? Because I show up with what I have. I don't go try to get better and then show up. What I have is what I bring. As broken, as dysfunctional, as sometimes begrudging as we are, as I am, I show up with that. I show up with the health that I have right now, the complications that I personally have that came and come from the decisions I've made in the past. I show up with that, what I have. The plans that I have, whatever they are, whether they're complete, whether they're half, whether they're dysfunctional, I show up with that. And I'm in this space and just enjoying the process of growing and learning and becoming better. Because my goal is not the blood sugar. As important as it is, and I want to keep saying that, it's not the A1C, it's not the weight, it's not the fatty liver. My goal is to keep us around as long as possible and for us to be as healthy as possible. Why? Because I got a young man who's growing up and I want to be there for him. You've got grandkids, you've got daughters and sons and uncles and cousins. You've got people in your family that you want to be there for, that you want to teach things, that you want to enjoy their company. You guys have been saving up to travel, and now it's time to retire. You want to be around for that. Your daughter, your son, they're having a baby. You want to be around for that. You have a hobby that you want, that you've been wanting to do. He said, when I retire, or whatever the when, and you want to be around for that. One of the most fun things that I did with my dad And there's 6 of us kids in my family. And my sister, who's older than me, and I would be on the floor wrestling with my dad. Now, he was a big guy. And I'm just imagining being able to do that with my family, with my grandson, with my granddaughter, I want to be around. Some of you right now are worried about being isolated from family members because you're not mobile as you want. So you're now having to wait for people to come pick you up. We want to make sure that we improve that process. So the numbers are great. They're milestones, they're metrics. But I want you to personalize this thing. What's in it for you? How does it change your day and your life in a practical way? You know what that does? When you can put that together, it helps you to move in the direction and helps you be sustainable. So here's the heart. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. Consistency doesn't come from trying harder. It comes from building systems that carry you even when the day is not going the way you want it to go, when you're tired, when you're distracted, when you're unmotivated. That's how you play your own game. That's how you win long term. So this week, I want you to take the challenge. And I want you to begin thinking. The health action plan is there. How do I begin implementing that? And part of it is going to be coming up with a plan for when things don't go the way you think. We'll talk more about that. Remember, we cue it, we stack it, we shield it. And then we watch how life feels when the game is built to support us. Yeah? Awesome. All right, let's go back and let's say hello to some of our community members. Let's see, where were we? So Kenti was saying hello, boy. Let's go back. Up here. Here we go. Okay, here we go. So Gian is saying, hi, Dr. LLG. What's up, Gian? Welcome. Hi, Teresa. Hi, boy. Hi, Jennifer, Kenti. Thank you all. My dad is better now. Thank you for coming through. Thank you for the update, Gian. Really appreciate it. Glad your dad is doing well. Smiley face from Kenti. And let's see. Gian says, hi, Kenti. Jennifer saying, howdy, Gian. Hi, Jennifer. How is your grandkids? Good news, Gian. They're doing great. We have 10 in total. 2 youngest just moved closer. That's awesome. Yeah, Jennifer, love that. Thank you, Kenti. I saw your video from the vault last Sunday. It was late, so I just saw your comments. 10 grandkids, amazing. Smiley face from Kenti. Teresa's clapping. Children are great. And Gion says, Teresa, how are you? Awesome. All right. Glad that you guys are all here. And we are going to be successful. We'll continue our trek this week as we continue the path of reversing diabetes, improving our metabolism, and improving our health and staying alive as long as possible and being as healthy as possible. We will have our start of fasting tomorrow, so come by and see what I'm going to eat as I get into my fast for this week. We will have our shows on Thursday and Wednesday and Thursday. We'll do a complete review on Friday of our fasting, and then we'll go from there. So hang out with us. We've got at the end of this week, we've got some different scheduling, and so we'll let you know as we go through that this week. But we are excited that you're here. Glad that I could get a chance to walk along with you. I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Woode with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted, and we are living limitless lives. Everybody, have a great evening. Live a limitless life. Bye-bye.